Hello everybody, happy Monday. We are going live today to answer a question that's been posted on the forum. So we're just going to wait for some of you to show up and for Michali, of course, to show up. How's everybody doing today? Happy July 4th. If you celebrate, let me know how. It's very quiet today. This hasn't happened in a while. Hang on, we're telling your followers to join your video. Everybody's sleeping late today. You'll make me jealous. I'm very tired. Hey Michali, I'm going to add you. Hello Bracha, thank you for joining. Let's see if Michali pops up. I think I invited you, Michali, or I accepted your request or whatever. Hi Michali.
Hello.
Okay, your voice is like a bit faded out. Talk more. Let me see if I hear you.
No. Okay. Is this better?
A little bit. I hear like a lot of noise though. Is that your background or is that Instagram? No,
It's yeah. Okay, good.
it's a little bit
Um,
fuzzy, but I think we'll do it. We'll manage.
okay. Well, hello. Happy Independence Day to you.
Yes, thank you. It took like a few minutes for people to come on. I was like, this is a first. I think it's like on these type of like holidays, like Instagram is like quieter, which means hopefully
Oh, for
actually
sure.
moments.
For sure. And especially if like people are like if it's nice weather where people are, then it's
Exactly.
everything's outdoors.
Early. I feel like people sleep late, so like I'm like, okay, I wish I would have slept late today, but that didn't happen.
Well, shall we?
Yes, please go for it.
Okay, so this is by Malky. She wrote, "Hi, I went to Israel a few years ago. I flew myself and met my brother in the airport in Israel. I became homesick and depressed the first day or two that I was there. Now I'm thinking of going back to Israel and flying with some of my siblings. I'm getting a little nervous to go because of what happened the last time. How do I deal with this fear?"
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the subject reads fear of travel.
Yes. When I first read the question, I thought it was like a fear of flying for some reason. And then in rereading the question, I was like, no. She didn't say anything about being afraid of flying. She was afraid. She's like, it really has nothing to do with flying. It's about having like emotions like anxiety and depression when you're not at home, basically, or you're somewhere far away. When I read it again to send it to you, I was like, oh, okay, like it's so interesting. Did you also get that, like when you first read it, or?
When I saw the subject, I right away assumed that it was a fear of traveling like on a plane.
Oh yeah, okay.
Just like you. And then as I read it, then I realized that it was a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to take a stab at it?
I mean, I think it's like very similar to like just dealing with emotions out when you're not like in your surroundings, right? Like when you're not in your comfort zone. So identify like what the emotions are that are coming up, right? So if it's anxiety, depression, like if that came up, what happened then that made that come up? How would you deal with that if that comes up again? Like I guess like being very proactive about like this is very likely to happen again. It's very normal. Also like normalize this for yourself. We can normalize it for you. When you're not in your like comfort zone, it's normal to be like more sensitive to different things and to kind of be triggered more easily. So kind of prepare for that and then have like your go-to coping skills. Who are the people you can call? What are the things you can do on your own to self-soothe? That was kind of like my overarching perspective. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I think it's so normal. A lot of people feel very tethered to their home base. And when you don't have a place to go to, then it can feel very unsettling and nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm.
I would first like reframe this as this person does not have a fear of traveling, right?
Okay.
Like kind of you and I were saying. I would say you actually do not have a fear of traveling. Like it sounds like you did great on the flight.
Exactly.
And that fear is more, and I don't even know, I don't hear the fear so much as I hear like the homesickness feeling of feeling sad and missing home.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't even necessarily think that this is an anxiety as much as it is that they're apprehensive about having that feeling that they had,
Mm-hmm.
which that initial feeling was feeling sad and missing home. So that's the thing that I would tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, when I think about extreme versions of being away from home, it's moving and literally switching homes. And it's that's why moving is considered one of the shifts and changes that's on the life transition list that people need time to adjust to.
Sure.
And what do we do when all of our stuff is in boxes and we bring our boxes into this new apartment or new house, right? We unpack, we put our things in the home, and we make that place feel like home. What makes that feeling for us? It's our stuff, right? I would say find things that, I would say to Malky, like, find things that make you feel at home. Like, what are some objects that are comforting for you? What are tangible things that you can like kind of use to set up your room wherever you're staying to make it feel like, oh yeah, like this is my base, right? Another interesting thing is I find that when we sleep in a place, after we wake up, we feel we've kind of lived in it. And that can also make homesickness feel a little bit better. So these are just like little tips, but ultimately homesickness basically means that you're longing for your anchor and your base. So trying to find what those things are that you can bring with you, even mini versions of that. Think of the five senses, right? So like what smells remind you of home? Are there people that you can call when you're feeling sad, right? What are some cozy things that you can do for yourself? And then make sure that exactly what you said, like be proactive and like kind of arrange your day so that you're using this new place as a base wherever you're staying, and also build in cozy nurturing time so that like it's not too overwhelming.
That's so brilliant, Michali. Like I did not think of that. That is really brilliant. Like how like when a person's homesick, like they're missing home, and like what could you do to transport like home to wherever you are? Like that's so smart. And like I think we naturally do it sometimes, but maybe we can like amp it up. Like I'm thinking like when I go away, like I'll bring a noise machine. Like even though I know I might not need it as much, but it's like it's my noise machine. Like it's gonna make me feel better.
Exactly. And like, it's so true. I mean, I'm a very organized packer, but I bring so many things that just feel like me. And the second I get somewhere, I'm unpacking and like making a mark on the turf that I'm on. And so that way I feel settled. And there's also like certain like things that, like whether it's like homemade chocolate chip cookies or like treating yourself and going out to eat or, stuff like that. And the last thing I'm going to say, this is more of like a strength-based kind of perspective, is this person wrote that they were depressed for the first day or two. So that's not a lot of time, and I would just, to your initial point, I would just normalize that that's not so bad, that is actually really good, that it took them a few days of adjusting. That's totally normal to just like, orient yourself. Also, Israel, if this person's coming from America, it's a different culture, a different language.
I was going to say like a different time zone, which means that you're probably tired. And when you're tired, all your emotions are out of whack and like extreme. So like it completely makes sense. And a day or two is actually very little considering like the spectrum. Like it's even normal depending on how long you're going away for to not be settled for a week or 2 weeks, depending on how long the stay is. But like it completely makes sense. Yeah, I love that.
And this might just be what this person experienced might be a really great learning opportunity to understand better how they travel. I wouldn't write off traveling, and that's why I would change the subject, because they don't have fear of traveling. It's more they don't want to feel that yucky homesick feeling.
Right.
And totally get it. It's a yucky feeling. It doesn't feel good. I would say that it sounds like that what you need is a day or two, based on what you wrote, to orient yourself. So I would build that into any time I go traveling, that the first day or two on my itinerary is just for me to reorient myself, get some sleep, get some non-plain food, in my system, set up my environment so it feels like an anchor and a base. And from that place, then I can go and enjoy wherever I'm at.
I love it. I love it. And like, I think sometimes people purposely like pack less because it's like, like trip. And like, don't do that to yourself if you want to use this skill, which I think, that you shared, Michali, which I think is brilliant. Like, purposely take things, even if they're not going to be needed, so to speak, in a physical way, but they might be needed as like an emotional manifestation of like security, and that's totally okay. So like, pack into your packing.
Yes.
Versus like I know sometimes I'm like, I'm traveling light, I'm taking nothing. I'm like, obviously it depends where and when, and sometimes that works. But sometimes you need to do the opposite, which is like, let me take everything that will make me feel safer and calmer, potentially.
Yeah, it's really about like the packing light sometimes is just in terms of like the actual travel time. But then the actual vacation time or the trip time, if you're feeling anxious because you don't know if you packed what you needed or you don't have what you need to feel grounded and secure, then like you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Right?
Right. Exactly. No, I love that. And I think this is such a like appropriate question for this time of year. I'm happy we addressed it. It's not like super heavy, which is also great. But like, I think that people now are traveling, and like, this is really not about a fear of flying or traveling or anything. It's really about a fear of having uncomfortable emotions during times of transition or just an upending of whatever routine you're used to. So it's like perfectly timed. Thank you, Michali, and thank you for asking the question, Malky, whoever you are.
Malky.
Yes. Thank you, Michali. All right. What you wanted to say? We're wrapping up.
What?
Did you want to say anything else, or we covered everything, I think?
I think that's the gist of it, you know?
Amazing. Thank you so much.
So nice to see you, Faye.
Likewise. Happy 4th. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a good one. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.